black women concerned about their sons like Tamika Mallory are wondering if they let their child go to the store, will they come home? Because a savage got a ban.
When we have these talks with the higher-ups, when I'm talking to the colonel, when I'm talking to the governor, when I'm talking to the chief of police, when I'm talking to the district attorney, I don't want to hear that I am sorry that for some reason they were acting unprofessional. Let's call this what it is criminal. And if you're not willing to stand up for what is criminal, then I don't want to hear that you won't stand for it because you are being complicit.
So I say again, I'm speaking for justice for Ahmaud, a child that was a child of God that knew that his time might have been short because of a spiritual breakdown. But the awareness to be killed in your own home, behind a gated fence, was no danger to no one. So I will always be here for the family of Ronald Green, as I speak, Leo, as I speak, Justice for Tommy, and anybody else that I may have missed their name. Never stop fighting for your family, regardless of what they say and how they may rule. Mine was me.
The officers, the troopers who took the life of Ronald Green, who took the life of Trayford Pellerin, those officers had no faith in the laws of this land. They had no faith in the court systems, in the judges, the prosecutors, the district attorneys, and attorneys generals who decide how to seek and adjudicate justice in this country. They had no faith in our criminal legal system. They had no faith in the Constitution. I'm an attorney, barred in the state of Louisiana, and I'm the executive director of the ACLU of Louisiana, and we are concerned utmost about the Constitution and constitutional policing. What are the rights that we are owed as citizens of this nation? Born free. Born free, what are the rights? We have the rights to due process. Say due process. Due process. We have the right to counsel. Say right to counsel. We have the right to a day in court. Say day in court. We have the right to a speedy trial. Say speedy trial. We have the right to be innocent until proven guilty. Say innocent until proven guilty. We have the right to be secure in our persons, papers, and effects. Say secure. We have the right to speak our mind without fear of incarceration and retaliation. Say freedom to speak our minds. We have the right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. Say free from cruel and unusual punishment. These are the guarantees of citizenship. Say citizenship. What does citizenship mean in the state of Louisiana? I don't know. What does it mean? Some people would say, Ronald Green's family would say it don't mean a damn thing. What does citizenship mean for black people in the state of Louisiana? I think the family would say, the family, Michelle Pellerin, mother of Trayford Pellerin, would say, not a damn thing. But who is responsible for making it mean something? We are. Say we the people are responsible for making making citizenship real for all people. And that's what we're here to do. We're going to make citizenship real for all people. All people, black and brown people. Our lives matter. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people marched globally after the death, the killing, and murder of George Floyd, proclaiming Black Lives Matter. Imagine that we had to have a public lynching on television for everyone to see in order for people just to affirm the very basic principle that Black Lives Matter. But now we know, since we know that we stand on the steps of this state capitol, where the laws of the state of Louisiana and the Constitution should be in full effect. We know that. And what does that mean as far as justice? That means that we still need to rely on the laws of this land, and we still need to rely on the elected leaders and the people that we have elected to defend and protect us. Not because they've given us their trust to do so, but because we believe in what? Citizenship. We believe in citizenship, and we're not going to give up. We are going to continue to push, and we are going to continue to fight, and we are going to continue to hold our elected leaders accountable. We are going to continue to ask the district attorney to institute state charges on behalf of the family for these officers who took the life of Ronald Greene. We are going to ask the assistant U.S. attorney and the United States attorney, acting attorney out of the Western District, to file federal charges in this case. We are going to ask for federal oversight of the Louisiana State Police. We are going to ask the governor to call for oversight of the Louisiana State Police. We are going to do that not because these folks have given us their trust. We are going to do it because we believe in citizenship. And when you believe in citizenship, and when you believe in the lives that have been lost for us to stand here today, our ancestors have paid the price. Our ancestors have paid the price for us to wear the crowns that we have on our heads today. And we cannot deny them. We will not deny them. We will continue to fight for justice. We will continue to fight for freedom. We will continue to honor the legacy of those who went before us. And I'll say this, we are going to be here, we are going to hear from this family. We are going to hear from this family. This is a family. Mona Hardin, Alana, Danelle, Taylor Greene. We have to understand Ronald Greene had a family. He is a member of a family. And his family is not going to stop fighting for justice. His family is not going to turn their back on justice. And as we see here, the attorneys are here, the family is here, and so we want to provide a space for the family to reiterate their demands. We want to provide the opportunity to lift their voices. And we will continue to do that. I want to leave you with one very important statement. If you haven't had a chance to go to the Equal Justice Initiative's Peace and Justice Memorial, you should. Between the years of 1870 and 1950, 4,400 African American people lost their lives in the United States because of racial terror lynchings. These were lynchings that took place where white mobs came and exacted corporal punishment and murder on black people. And this was taking place with the sanction of the state, with the sanction of the police, with the sanction of the government, state-sanctioned violence. There was a lynching every week of the year between 1870 and 1950, every single week. And Brian Stevenson created this museum, and he has these words inscribed on the walls, and I want you to remember these words. And actually say it with me. For the hanged and beaten, for the shot, drowned, and burned, for the tortured, tormented, and terrorized, for those abandoned by the rule of law, we will remember. We will remember. With hope, because hopelessness is the enemy of justice. Say, enemy of justice. With courage, because peace requires bravery. Say, peace requires bravery.
Peace requires bravery.
With persistence, because justice is a constant struggle. Say, justice is a constant struggle.
Justice is a constant struggle.
With faith, because we shall overcome. We shall overcome, good people, and thank you. Thank you, Black Power.
All right, next up we're going to have the Executive Director of Urban League Louisiana, Ms. Judy Morris.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
It is way too late for swift action to be taken in this situation. We are 2 years too late for that to happen. It is not too late for there to be full accountability for the horrific, horrendous, brutal tragedy that occurred in May of 2019 to Mr. Ronald Green. If you have any doubt whatsoever about what this is all about and what it really, really means, you have to look no further than to look into the face, look into the eyes, and listen to the words of his mother, Mona Hardin. Everything that you need to know, everything that we need to know is within her heart and soul. And this is what I hear her communicating to us. Today it is Ronald Green. Earlier this week, we recognized the 1-year anniversary of the killing that took place a year ago in Minneapolis of Mr. George Floyd. On and on and on and on. I would be here for days saying all of the names. We know the names. You've heard from family members here today. It is time. It is time. And everything that we need to know, Mona Hardin can tell us. She is telling us that it is time for us to act. All of us who are here today, those who couldn't be here today, it is time for us to come together and time for us to act. We must be unrelenting. Unrelenting in our coming together. This is what happens. People get to write us off when they see one of us over on the left and they see one of us over on the right. I am here today to tell you no more. That is not the case in this situation, and it will never be the case again in the state of Louisiana.
That's right, Queen.
The organizations that fight for civil rights, we are together. We stand together. Earlier today, this morning, we did a press conference that had media from around the world. Do you know who they heard from? They didn't just hear from me at the Urban League of Louisiana. They didn't just hear from Mark Morial, the national president of the National Urban League. They heard from Eugene Collins, your leader here in Baton Rouge. Clap for him. With the NAACP Baton Rouge. They heard from Alana Odoms, who you just heard. Always an honor to be in the company of that sister. They heard from Lindsey Bach, who represents ADL. You know who couldn't be there because they were in this building fighting for our rights and the bills and the laws that represent us? Norris Henderson with VOTE. Mike McClanahan is right over my shoulder, state conference leader. We are together, and we are not going to be separated. We will no longer operate apart. So when you see one of us, you see all of us. We have an online petition that is out. Go to the Urban League's website, urbanleaguela.org. Sign the petition. Your signature matters. Every time you sign your name, every time you show your face, every time you raise your voice, it matters. But it really, really, really matters when we all put it together. strength in numbers. And that is what you are going to see around this case and around many others. So thank you, every single person here today. Thanks to those who could not be here today. The courage that it takes for a mother to talk about the loss of her child, the loss of her spouse, the loss of her relative. Everything that we need to know is in their eyes, it's in their hearts, it's in their soul, it's in their words. So if we ever get lost and we don't know what to do, if we get discouraged, because this is a heavy weight, is it not? This is a heavy lift. If we ever get discouraged, think about Mona Harding. Just think about her. And if that doesn't move you, then I'm not sure what does. But we are going to remember her words. And we are going to remember her pain and her suffering. And we are going to work together. And we are going to fight for accountability. We're calling for two things. This is not as complex as some may try to make this. Stay clear and focused on what this is. We want every trooper involved in this incident to be terminated immediately. And then after the termination, we want every single trooper involved in this incident to be arrested. And then we want them to be charged. And then we want them to be charged with the right charges. That's what we want. That's what we're calling for. So when you go to our website to sign that online petition, which I know you're going to do, and I know you're going to take it and share it with everybody that you possibly can and encourage them to sign. Our voices, our signatures matter. And when you do that, you will see those are the things that we are calling for. There will be more. You will be hearing more. And it is our honor at the Urban League of Louisiana to serve all of you and to work with all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
All right, next up we got the Relief Gang. The Relief Gang, are y'all here?
Who he's speaking of is our brother Trey the Truth. Everybody give Trey a round of applause. My name is Lee Merritt. I'm a civil rights attorney. That's not why I'm here today. I'm actually here as this gentleman's brother. He is a superhero, honestly, from the state of Houston. And he stands with the community. Okay, yeah, he stands with the community wherever he goes. And he heard the people of Louisiana were standing up for Ronald Greene. And he told me, look, I'm in the middle of Los Angeles, bouncing from here to there, but I'm going to interrupt my trip to stand with the community of Louisiana because he has a heart for Louisiana and he has a heart for the people and he demands justice for Ronald Greene. So I'm going to stand with him. He's a man of few words and a man about action, but I'm going to let him get some words in and then we'll go from there.
You know, he got to deal with me when we get done with this because I hate talking. But on a serious note, man, you know, on behalf of myself, my Until Freedom family, my sister Tamika, my son Lee, a lot of us, when a lot of these tragedies happen, we always get together, no matter where it is. We stop what we do, we leave our families, and we jump on the front line. And when I say we jump on the front line, meaning every city we go, we don't know what the result's going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. We do understand it's a chance we can never make it home. But when you're out here fighting for what you believe in and fighting for those who really need you, it don't necessarily matter if we make it home. We got to be out there to make sure we sacrifice for them. So today is very important. One thing that we learned from George Floyd, one thing we learned from Breonna, one thing we learned from everybody is they don't take us seriously until we start stepping up and standing up. You know, the only way that they get uncomfortable is if we make them uncomfortable. So clearly they've been hiding this video for a long time, but now that it's surfaced, now they're starting to get uncomfortable. But it don't stop there. We got to make sure we put in the work. We got to make sure we show them we have no fear. And we're going to be out here every day we can, just as well as we got the justice for George, we're going to get the justice for Ronald Greene, justice for Pam Turner, justice for Breonna Taylor, justice for Daunte Wright. It's too many names to count, man, but Yeah, we definitely gonna fight every fight. Win, lose, or draw. It don't matter what the results become, you know. But for people like us, we just here to be on the front line. And at the end of the day, we know his mother needed right now, you know. Because if something was to happen to me, I know I want the world to stand with my mother. So that's what we doing. We gonna be her goons in the shadow when they think they're gonna play with her. But I want to make sure y'all stand firm for her. We shouldn't stop once we leave today. We should make sure we start enforcing and putting a lot more pressure. There's a lot of real street ones out there that represent themselves like me. So this is the time for us to step on some people's necks. And that's how I feel about it.
All right, so next up is going to be My Son the General. My Son the General, you hear you. Oh, don't look like you told you were speaking either, huh?
I just want to mirror what my brother Trey just said. You know, we did travel from New York, me and my sister Tamika Mallory. We are two of the co-founders of Until Freedom. And immediately when we heard about Ronald Green, we reached out to his family members, we talked to his sisters, and we seen the interview with his mother, and it pretty much brought tears to my eyes. Just watching that video, just understanding that could be me. You know, it could have been my brother, it could have been one of my cousins, my uncles. You know, like Trey said, we have to stand up. This is the time. We realize that this system is created to do stuff like that. You know, it's not injustice, it's injustice, but it's not that the system is broken. The system is working exactly how it's supposed to work. You know, and it's time for us to say that this system can no longer govern us like that. We need something different. We need officers who have compassion, who are trained in de-escalation, who treat us like human beings, who see us like human beings. See, we got to go further than just getting them charged, indicted, and convicted. We got to start breaking down these whole stations, these whole police stations, and putting people in power that really care about our communities. That's what we got to do. We got to redesign this system to make sure that it fits us. So after we leave here, look, we making sure that we get justice. We want to make sure that we get justice for Ronald Green, but after we get justice and while we get justice, we got to dismantle this system that is targeting black and brown bodies and making it seem like we're not humans. Amen.
So, Sister Tamika Mallory.
There's absolutely nothing that I can say behind my brothers. That's why I roll with them, because they speak truth to power. And when I look at Trey and of course Lee Merritt and my son, I think to myself that at any moment it could be them. It certainly could even be me when we think about Breonna Taylor. And so I'm always just okay with standing behind them and allowing them to speak our truth. First of all, on behalf of my organization, my son and myself, and of course Trey, Until Freedom, I just want to make sure that we uplift this family and to say that we love you, we support you, we are here, we are traveling from wherever, whenever to be with you, to stand with you, and to let you know that from New York City and from all across this country, you have allies and supporters and accomplices who are willing to sacrifice it all on behalf of you and your family. It's always the right time to stand up for justice. It's always the right time to go wherever injustice is happening across this nation. I tell people all the time, stop telling people don't show up places where things like this have happened. We should show up together all the time, but to respect those people who are on the ground doing the work every single day when we get there. I'm always going to be one who shows up on behalf of a Ronald Green, a George Floyd, a Breonna Taylor, and even those who are still living today but feeling the oppression of this system, because I want to save my own son. So this is very personal for me. It's very selfish. My child is 22 years old, living in Georgia, and I worry every single day that he could become a victim of this system. In fact, he is a victim because we strip him of his manhood every day when we tell him, don't stand up for yourself. Don't talk back. Put your hands up. Doesn't matter what happens. Don't get into it. Come home and I will fight for you. We strip our young people, young black men, of their manhood every single day. And that is not okay with me. So that's why I'm here. If anybody asks you why, I'm here for Tariq Ryan's my own child. And I'm here for your children as well. Let me just say this, though, that we cannot be video activists. We cannot be video organizers and video outrage. We ought to apologize to Ms. Hardin that many of us are just showing up now when we should have been here from the time that she and her daughters and family said something else happened to my son. I don't believe what they are telling me. We should have been here already. We cannot be George Floyd knee in the neck outrage. And that is what we have come to. That we need a video for us to feel the outrage that is necessary for us to stand up and really push back against this system. We cannot do that because Attorney Lee Merritt will tell you that he has a number of Ronald Green, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor cases that are not getting the type of attention that they deserve just because the person did not die on camera. That is not acceptable. To the black that's here, to all of us as organizers, we continue to show up at these things that have become family reunions for us when we see the videos of our loved ones being killed. We have to be outraged every single day and know that our people are dying on a regular basis, and those who may not have died are also being abused and harmed, and there is reason for us to be constantly and perpetually in a state of anger and rage. That's where we must live in order for us to show up every time a mother is crying out for her child, every time that a family needs us. And all of us may not be able to show up everywhere in every moment, but we know we can do better. As a community, we can do better. So if there is anything that I want to leave us with today, is to know that Ronald Green is teaching us a lesson. That 2 years ago, the same story happened, but many of us were not paying attention. We did not have our heartstrings pulled in the right way. There we go. I don't know, I think I lost my mic. Somebody might have cut it off and said, no, we don't want them to be outraged all the time. Yes, we do. 2 years ago, this happened. So what does it say about us? What does it say about us? That we are waiting to watch public lynchings in order for us to activate. We have to keep the same energy, because whether or not there's a new person, there's been enough names, as has been said, for us to be fighting every single day. This state capitol and state capitals across this nation should not be comfortable walking in and out. There should be continuous organizing across the nation, because we need a clarion call for there to be change. The idea that in Washington, D.C. right now, they have passed President Biden's deadline, and I do that with quotes, because he said he wanted to see the George Floyd that can be passed to address in a more radical way the issues of police accountability. However, what is on the table right now should have been passed on the 25th of May, because that's what we were told. But it did not happen because people are playing with us. They do not believe that we have the power to shut this nation down in the way in which we know we can. So what I am suggesting to you is that we must focus more on our economic power. That is the conversation that we are going to have to start focusing on, so that these people understand that when we say we want a bill passed, we want it passed, or else we will cripple this economy. That is the conversation that we must be having across this nation, and it is the conversation that I'm prepared to sit with anyone and talk about, because the only thing they respect is when we don't spend our money. That is the only thing that they respect. And so I think, as I leave from this microphone, that must be our organizing strategy. When we talk about the Urban League, they know better than anyone how to deal with economic power. And if Washington does not feel that they can pass a bill on behalf of our communities, then we need to figure out who are the
your boy on the side of the road while our mayor tells us that there's an investigation. How much you got to investigate? Thank you. If you or I do any of the crimes that these officers, and they are crimes. They are crimes. They are criminals that have a badge that are patrolling this state right now. There are two things that can happen. State police immediately can make an arrest. Nobody has to ask the governor to tell the head of state police to make an arrest. The governor is making a deliberate choice not to tell the head of state police to make an arrest. Don't tell us because you put this black man to clean up that white mess that created 2 years ago. Another thing about our governor, he allowed the head of state police who was in the position at the time of Ronald Green's death to retire with full benefits. So don't tell me John Bell is a good white man. A good white man understands that justice is not subjective to the color of your skin or your gender. See, it's time for us to recognize that Democrats or Republicans, if you stand in the way of justice, we will stand in your face. We will call you out. We will call it as we see it. And it should not take the cavalry coming for you to recognize that we have been saying this for months. Fannie Lou Hamer said she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I feel like that's the attitude of black folks every day in America. That no matter whether you live in New York, whether you live in Texas, whether you are in Minnesota, that the oppression of our people is still a relevant conversation in this nation. And if we, the voters, we, the taxpayers, continue to send people down here who will not do the people's will, we don't elect you to vote your damn conscience. We elect you to vote our will. How many more families do we have to stand on the steps of these capitals? Why does this mother have to keep coming to this state because we deny her justice? How many black women concerned about their sons like Tamika Mallory are wondering if they let their child go to the store, will they come home because a savage got a badge? Now, here's a simple analogy that they give us. Go ahead, brother, go ahead. That a few bad apples is what we have. The finishing of the quote is, bad apples spoil the damn bunch. And there is not any respect for policing until you deal with them the way you deal with us. Jails are filled with black bodies. Put the people who break the law in jail and not be respective of whether or not they wear a badge or not. The law is supposed to be the law regardless of your profession. A profession does not give you a classification above my humanity. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Mr. Jamal Taylor.
I'm your brother. I'm your brother. Were the words of Ronald Green. And Savage Beast murdered him. But the scripture says, I am my brother's keeper. But that's reciprocal. It requires a transaction of belief between two people. And I would echo the sentiment of my brother Gary Chambers in that the governor of the state of Louisiana is the chief bullshitter of the state. I will not stand at this podium and act as if he represents the interests of black people in this state. I'm not going to stand here and give the opinion that almost 6 months ago, 20 people did not go and run Colonel Reeves off the state police compound. I'm not going to act as though the governor wasn't aware when he held his press conference that he said Colonel Reeves was a good guy. That he said that he decided to retire. I guess 30 years was enough. And so for him to lie now and act as if he is concerned is at best reckless and at worst dangerous. But when he was running for election, he was peddling every church he could to get the black vote. And so what we must realize is that We cannot continue to give our votes to people that are bigots, that hide behind the walls of the governor's mansion and do not do the will of all people in this state. But let me go a step further. I haven't heard a word from the president either. And as I understand it, the U.S. Department of Justice, Biden's U.S. Department of Justice, has the investigation now that has languished for 2 years. I don't give people respect because they have a D behind their name, an R or an I. I give them respect because they deserve it, because they've earned it from me. And so President Biden has a responsibility at this point to direct his Attorney General to find out what happened. He also needs to find out what the governor knew and when he knew it. It is time for us to stop running this state as the state police as if it's an organized criminal ring. I'm not a national figure. I'm nobody important. I'm a regular old guy from Lafayette. And what I gotta tell you is, we're not gonna stop fighting in the state of Louisiana. We're gonna always be 10 toes down, and no matter what, we're gonna get justice. You see, we can't give up. We can't stop fighting. Today is a point on the trajectory of where we're going. Dr. King started it. The people before him started it. The moral arc of the universe bends towards justice, but this bending has taken too long. And so it's time for us to stand on the scales to ensure that the justice we deserve is not denied any longer. So I tell John Bel Edwards or Joe Biden says something, both of them, insofar as I'm concerned, can kick rocks. Thank you so much. God bless you. Let us
Now, when this case came across my desk in 2019, a lot of folks don't realize that we found this case by mistake. That we had submitted an information request into the use of August McKay's N-word with another trooper. See, folks have asked us, why y'all coming here today? Let the process play out. It says protesting has its place. Often folks have said that we're tired of marching. We're tired of protesting. It's never worked. But then I read about Dr. King and I see how he used the protest as a leverage in the movement. See, ain't nothing changed in this country until we got together and got mad. See, I read about how the organizers of the bus boycott nearly crippled the system through strategy. I read about 2 future local judges that decide to march from one school to another to force integration. I'm challenged to think that marching and protesting have worked. It just used to be more strategic. See, but what can you expect? Your leaders now hold political seats and are tied to business interests. It can't be about justice for Ronald Green when some are too busy plotting their next political move. Let's just keep it real for a second. The executive arm of the civil rights movement has found other roles. That's not bad, it's just different. Our influence never have to leave their homes. Social media has created Twitter fingers for change, with action being at an all-time low. Today we follow people that can't even walk through our streets. I repeat, cannot walk down my street. Don't just come protest with us, come walk down our streets. We've created interest sections for our leaders instead of buy into our communities. You no longer have to love me to serve me. We follow political agendas instead of using good common sense. Every movement seemed to be birthed in the kitchen of some church without any systematic influence present. But now we have too many folks looking for viral moments. I tell you what, if all this black power really had power, people wouldn't be getting drugged on the side of the road by shackles.
It do got power. It do got power. We just keep getting sold out. You got to exercise it.
And I say,
black power got power. Correct.
Still because some jokers here in Louisiana took off robes and put on badges. Americans has always treated folks that look like me this way. But now we spend way too much time explaining this to folks that look like me. We ought to just let them go on their right way and just rally who we can. I see folks allowed to exist while our grandparents would have run off. I say all this to say, while I don't always agree with the old, sure there are new ways, but until we rope success to the front of the line, we'll always lose. In 2 years, this system has decided that that video they watched wasn't bad enough for immediate attention. That's our fight. I really ain't got time for nothing else. If a movement lacks strategy and I'm near it, that's my fault, because long ago, that part was my job. Not in the literal, but folks with my skill set and knowledge. We can't say if something has stopped working if we ain't never done it right. That's right. We shouldn't be tired of something we've never really done right. That's right. So sit your judgmental ass down and do something if you don't like what you see. We're going to continue to stand where we stand and shout to the heavens for justice for Ronald Green. And if you have any questions on why, it's because we're the largest and the oldest, the baddest and the boldest, the most loved and most hated, the most feared and revered, touched and discussed civil rights in organization in America. We are the NAACP, and we demand that you arrest these clowns.
Dr. Sterling family right here. Still ain't got no justice. Come on, Peter Sterling.
We're going to hear from the family of Alton Sterling, a native family who's been fighting this fight for far too long.
Y'all know what I say? If we don't get no justice, they don't get no peace. So I want to make sure that we all on one accord. What I say, if we don't get no justice, if we don't get no justice, we have to fight together, y'all. We have to fight. We got to stand together on this thing. They still killing us by the thousands. They still killing us. So in order for them to stop killing us, we have to stop it. And you know what? We're going to stop it when we unite. We have to be on one accord with each other. And I'm telling you, it's a hard road. It's a long road, but I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. I still stand on what I say. No justice! No peace! No racism! No peace! Just like that. Right. Just for Ronald Green. Just for Travis Pellerin. Just for Travis Pellerin. Black power. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor. We're just backing you up.
You take it with you. A man was killed in Monroe, Louisiana. It was a human being. We've confirmed that. Mama, you gave birth to him, right? You raised him? I heard he went to college at 16. Is that true? Right around 17. He was a real person. A human being was killed in the state of Louisiana. He was murdered on the side of the road. How many of you all saw the video?
We saw it.
It was an actual happening. So we're not here theoretically.
Come on.
We're not here talking about what could have been or what should be. We're saying that a man was murdered in the state. And in the state, Louisiana, which is one state in the country of the United States of America, when someone is murdered, there's something that ought to happen.
Lock them up.
Right? Now, you know, I've studied, so I'm a history major from Morehouse College, so I studied civilizations before. People have different ways of dealing with murders, but in the United States of America, if someone commits a murder, then we elect a prosecutor who will determine if there's probable cause in a region that a crime has been committed, and they make an arrest. The law encourages that be a timely arrest, right? As soon as they find that they've crossed that border of probable cause, enough evidence to establish that a crime has been committed, they send out the law enforcement agents that we pay for, and they make an arrest when a human is killed in one of our states. That happened 2 years ago. I'm not actually here for a fancy speech. I'm here to march and to stand with the community. I'm over speeches. A real person, her son, was murdered by state agents and we demand action 2 years ago.
That's right.
The reason that we don't have an arrest is because the elected officials that you all selected, that we selected through our vote, has said, yeah, that's the rules, but or else what? They're questioning you about what your resolve is. I'm not here for the cameras. They want to know what you're going to do about it. You know there's a crime. You know there's no justification for the use of force. You know that a family is injured and we are diminished by his death. And they want to know what you're going to do about it. Well, I'm a lawyer. Carlos Moore, where you at? Carlos, I saw you here earlier. Judge Carlos Moore came here from Alabama. I came in from Texas. My brother Trey the Truth came in from Houston. The family came in from Florida. There's people gathered here. Tamika came in from New York. There's people gathered here from all over the world saying, look, I will put whatever this community tells me to do, I'll do. When they say or else what, I showed up for that. I didn't show up in my shirt and tie. I know how to litigate. We're doing that. But listen, if they kill my brother, if they kill one of my 5 beautiful children, there are consequences. I'm not here for the cameras. I'm telling this community that right now, the NAACP, the ACLU, the new Black Panther Party that supports me everywhere I go, that we now have a responsibility. I don't give a damn about their system. Civil rights has been disbanded in Louisiana because we know under the rules of civil rights, if someone is killed, there's an arrest. We start there. Well, it's been 2 years. They don't plan to make an arrest. Or else what? Or else what?
Right on.
I cannot tell the state of Louisiana or the community of Baton Rouge what to do. But whatever you all say to do, we got your back. That's it.
Two years. 2 years is too long. But not too late for justice.
Never too late.
2 years is too long, but not too late for justice. You know, there's a difference between not standing for something. I want y'all to follow me, right? There's a difference with not standing for something, but then not willing to stand up for what is right. You see, there's a lot of people in that building right there that don't stand for what happened to Ronald Green. There's a lot of people in that building that will not stand for what happened to Joseph Richardson. There's a lot of people in that building that will not stand for what happened to Trayford Pellerin. But how many is willing to stand up? And that's the difference. We don't need people that will say we don't stand for something. We need people that will stand the hell up. That would use their voice, that would use their power, that would use their influence to get justice. So, when we have these talks with the higher-ups, when I'm talking to the colonel, when I'm talking to the governor, when I'm talking to the chief of police, when I'm talking to the district attorney, I don't want to hear that I am sorry that for some reason they were acting unprofessional. Let's call this what it is. It is criminal. And if you're not willing to stand up for what is criminal, then I don't want to hear that you won't stand for it because you are being complicit. I've been practicing law for 13 years. I'm about to put my 1L hat on and talk a little bit about the code of criminal evidence. Just a little bit. I'm gonna school you a little bit. You see, there's a statute in the state of Louisiana that covers murder. The gist of what that statute says is, if you specifically inflict great bodily harm or have the specific intent to kill, and someone dies, that is murder.
Yeah. Right.
Specific intent to kill or inflict great bodily harm, that is what? Murder. Now, much was made about the bullshit autopsy. I'm sorry I had to curse. That was done on Ronnie Green.
Speak that European French. Speak it. Speak that European French.
That's the right word.
Wanna talk about some cocaine, delirium, and some alcohol, and what he ate for breakfast the day before, and who he talked to on the phone, and somehow that played into what his state of emotions were? Now I ain't here for all that. The world saw on those 9 videos that were released how Ronnie Green died. Did it look like cocaine? No. Did it look like alcohol?
No.
Did it look like a damn car accident?
No, hell no.
What did it look like?
Murder.
And what do we do with murderers?
Lock them
Now, what just I struggle with, and I'm going to conclude in a minute, but what I struggle with is this. Many of people that look like me can get arrested, prosecuted, indicted by word of mouth. You can say something against me, you can say something else, you can say something else, and guess what? My ass is still going to be arrested. We got a whole video. Matter of fact, we ain't got one video. We have 9. And 9 videos is not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. 9 videos is not enough to get this family.